Hi. So I wanted to talk to you about time because I'm busy. Um, ah, can you hear me? I suppose you can. So I'm busy with the last few weeks of my architectural degree. What's supposed to be the last few weeks? I think there's or four, 5 weeks left of the degree. And obviously, I am working madly to try to finish on time and submit on time and do all of these things on time. And it sort of dawned or dawning on me that it's taking time. It's taking time because as you grow older, you sort of begin to experience time in an ever changing way. At first, time is abundant, it's there, it's um, infinite in a way, and then slowly and gradually you begin to feel the finity of time. I'm 30 now, and this is an age that I never thought I would ever find myself at. I thought I would be dead by now, and to my surprise, I'm still alive. So I try to do things in my life that I I I, I think and feel will make me happy as an existence. When I get to my deathbed, death deathbed, when I get to my deathbed, I can look back at all my accomplishments and non-accomplishments and be happy with all of them. I think that is one thing that really arrests me is being content in that moment, whichever way my death happens. And I know a lot of positive thinking people will put forward the idea that you shouldn't think about life in such a grim manner. I don't see it that way, however. I don't see it as me thinking of life in a grim way. I feel that death is something that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. There are those that are lucky that never really get to think about it until the day that it comes for them. But for people like me, and I consider myself lucky in a way to be able to digest the topic of death to such a point that I am almost able to get over it. I haven't gotten over it, but I understand it. It's very, it's very trippy because sometimes I get to a point where I understand death as life and life as death. The idea that when we die, our life begins. Because in so many ways, this existence seems like death. It seems like this is the dead plane, and everybody that's dying is actually going to the point of life. The Christians will call it heaven. Um, some other religions will call it Valhalla. I'm saying some other religions because I don't know specifically which religion that is, and I don't want to speculate. And some people would equate it to being the spiritual realm, the universal truth, the universe. This feels more like a prison. It feels like we are bound, and each and every day as we interact, we are binding. We are binding with the body, we are binding with the environment around us. We are binding into with the things that we take part in. As I am studying this degree and I am wrestling with the notion of science as a school of thought and how it's seemingly being implemented across the border as universal truth, as the point of reference for thought. And I might be, this might be like years of education, me saying this, but perhaps rightfully so, because of all the proofs and the research that has gone into building the knowledge of science. An interesting argument rose up in class today of science as a superior language of thought that is oppressively dominating the landscape at the expense of things like uh, intuitive knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Uh, yeah, I cannot think of another third example. Um, and it really brought together this argument that I've been having with myself of what is the point of the degree that I'm doing right now? What is what is the point? I know that I am going to be conferred, you know, a certificate that says my education is one degree higher than it was. I understand that. I also wrestle at the same time with the idea that the education system as it stands in South Africa, at least, is geared towards colonize the assimilation into a colonized mindset. It is almost palpable the ideas that are coming forth through the education system that steer me as a student into seeing things and approaching things from a very colonized mindset. And this could be, and possibly is, unknown to the core body of the administration that runs higher education. It is the the depth at which science has grown to a point of blind faith from its patrons, correctly so, as it has been proven multiple times. But it has created this belief in it that ties these people together the same way that the belief in God ties Christians together, the belief in Jesus Christ ties Christians together, and the belief in Muhammad ties Muslims together. The belief in something common is what ties the school of science, the school of science as a knowledge base. And it's something that I don't agree with. I understand how science works. I do. I don't agree with approaching architecture in a scientific way. It goes against everything that I am as a person, first of all, and me getting this degree would be me doing the very thing that I am against. I understand that with the degree I can get further, right? I can get further professionally. I can get further in terms of who I find myself in the room with, or best case scenario, um, or at least this is what I'm supposed to understand about it. But do I want to practice architecture? It seems like it's taking forever to do something that I'm I'm not going to use. I don't feel like I'm going to use this resource that I'm digging up, and it feels like it's a waste of time. At the same time, I am pretty sure it's not a waste of time because I understand the greatness that I want to achieve through design, not through having multiple degrees in architecture and uh, climbing the ladder of corporate success. No, no, no. I want to have this skill because I want to have this skill, and the scientific framework of it needs to exist within the education system because the profession itself is highly scientific in operation. There are all of these laws and legislations that sort of like create this matrix called the architectural profession. And it's all very it's all very ah it makes me lazy. It makes me lazy. It makes me lazy to be an architect. The architectural demeanor, the the expectations that are associated with being part of the architectural fraternity. I don't fancy that for myself. It's like be an architect over there and I'll be an architect over here. But is it architect that I want to be? Or is architecture a core component of the skill sets that I want to understand and use? And I think this process of education of architecture is really grinding against my brain, my my beliefs, my perspective. You can educate architects, you can create a school of architecture, but guide, you cannot scientifically guide creativity. Are we engineers, perhaps, of the social kind? Hmm. I think there's plenty to think about here. There's a lot to think about, there's a lot to digest, and there's a lot more to understand. And yeah, I hope I will reach a form of understanding quite soon. I look forward to it. Till then, um, we finish what we started.